the Cowboys had gone into that game 69-3 when not allowing the opponent to score a touchdown.
Nice.
They're now 69-4. And what's really weird is we talked about the high-powered Cowboys offense, and obviously we know what the Saints have been historically. The last two scores, these two, last year the Cowboys won 13-10. This year the Saints won 12-10. So it has been the defenses that have carried the water the last two times these two teams have
You
met.
mentioned Lutz with the field goals. The last time that the Saints won a game without scoring a touchdown, 1998.
Oh, wow.
You look at a New England defense. You look at really a Dallas defense, even though they lost. New Orleans defense. The Bears defense, still the most feared, I think, defense. Statistically, they're not the best. Statistically, by numbers, they're fourth best in giving up yards. But is there a more feared defense
No.
in the league than what they're doing? So they're going to be in every game, no matter who the quarterback is. And we'll get to that as Mitch Trubisky got hurt on the opening series of that one. So really, the defense is showing up. I guess unless you're in Tampa Bay, of course, we expected over 50 points against the Rams.
Of course, and
I mean, who didn't see that coming?
It's been unbelievable. But for the Saints, you're right, especially in the middle of that defense, like Malcolm Brown, Sheldon Rankins, like getting all these big, healthy bodies in the middle of that Saints defense really seemed to kind of be the difference for them. Because on the other side, you look at what was the Achilles heel in a game this close. What really did it? 2 fumbles for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, Zeke putting it on the mat in a couple of, in one spot, and then Jason Witten in another. Crucial turnovers in a game where it's going to be this sort of back and forth body blows game. Ended up ultimately being the difference.
And, of course, we'll be in Dallas next week, or this Friday.
Right.
As we get set to take our show on the road for the fall football tour, and the Cowboys are playing the Packers.
How about that?
Week.
All of a sudden, what that turned into.
So you had the Packers losing at home to the Eagles to fall to 3-1. You had the Cowboys on the road to New Orleans following 3-1. Somebody's going to be in sheer panic mode after next week because someone's coming out of that game, a 3-0 start, suddenly finding themselves at 3-2.
I feel like if anyone's really going to hit the panic switch, it'd be the Cowboys, right? Just because they were the darling out of the gate. They were the team that were starting hot, Kellen Moore, new offense, high-flying attack. Whereas the Packers, even though they started 3-0, it never felt like it because everyone's looking around going, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers?
Exactly.
Really until this Thursday when we saw him go for 400 yards and a loss. Aaron Rodgers we're kind of wondering, all right, how's this offense going to mesh? And so that 3-0 and the Cowboys 3-0 felt largely different. And so if the Cowboys fall to 3-2, now all of a sudden we're trying to start to flip the script all the way back to last year.
Well, not only that, but especially when the Cowboys, they started against the Giants with Eli Manning. Obviously, that didn't work out. They then played the Washington Redskins, who are just abysmal and a mess, and their quarterback is not ready in Dwayne Haskins. And then they beat the Miami Dolphins, who are clearly not trying to win games. So there's a lot of things going on. Okay, was that a mirage against those three teams, or how good are you for Dallas, right? That's the real interesting question.
Already saw a lot of people saying pretender about the Cowboys.
And we'll see. Not to get too far in advance, but the game against the Packers, the one thing the Packers defense, we talked a lot about how well they're doing, especially rushing the quarterback. They're giving up 142 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
So that could be where maybe Zeke in this offense and rushing attack, which couldn't do anything last night, as a team, 20 of 45. 20 carries for 45 yards as a team for Dallas last night, and Green Bay not very good against the run. So that is a huge matchup next week, but a little surprising to end the Sunday on that low scoring.
I mean, you had to love this. It was
it
was basically a game between Demario Davis for the Saints on one side of linebacker
and Robert
Leighton,
Quinn.
Well, I was going to say Robert Quinn or Leighton Vander Esch on the other side, who seemed to be Alvin Kamara's shadow the entire game, which is a difficult thing, as you well know, to do.
I love watching these defenses. Even the New England defense is unbelievable to watch, but Buffalo's defense played extremely well in what they did. I mean, there's a ton to get into, but the defenses, I think there's some big ones stepping up.
I think two defenses that played really well in losses, definitely Buffalo and also the Lions. I mean, they held Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes without a touchdown pass.
You should have seen our DraftKings text when I'm calling Patrick Mahomes overrated. No, he was killing me because I had him at one point. I had 4 points with him, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
He rebounded strong.
Yeah, he did.
He did. And you know what? We could talk about all these defensive players, and you know what? A lot of them were used to, right? This Cowboys defense was very good at the end of last year. This Saints defense we talked about was a big part of why they've been such a fearsome team in the last couple of years, but they all pale in comparison to quarter of the season defensive player of the year, Shaquille Barrett.
Yeah, how
Shaq
about that?
Barrett has been an
9 sacks now?
absolute maniac through the first 4 games of the season.
Absolutely incredible what he has done. Yeah, he's got 9 sacks, I think 4 forced fumbles as well, something along those lines.
Khalil Shaq.
He was a guy who, for the first 2 years of his career, was kind of playing in the shadow of Von Miller in there, and then Bradley Chubb came into Denver, and
then
really,
also behind DeMarcus Ware for a while too.
Wasn't getting his reps there, and all of a sudden, gets a little bit of freedom, and here he goes doing his things. Just to say really quickly, he is 3 tackles, a sack, and interception. The first player since sacks became an official stat in 1982. Still seems crazy. To record at least 9 sacks and an interception in a team's first 4 games.
Yeah, it was nuts. So back to the Cowboys real quickly, because everyone, the marriage between Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott as quarterback and offensive coordinator was the talk of the league.
Yes, it was.
And then the Saints said, hold my beer. And that defense was all over the place. And Dak knows, hey, man, the pressure's on me to get this offense done because we could not do anything Sunday night.
Yeah, we've seen what replacement level looks like for Dallas at left tackle, and it's not
pretty.
Adrian Claiborne says, I'll take that. 6 sacks in that one game.
Making paydays for
and
folks.
he's a guy who's been nicked up the last couple of years, especially with the back. Again, he wears a knee brace on his elbow. That's how big the dude is.
He's
it's
enormous.
Somewhat ridiculous. But, how about for the Cowboys? 3rd time in their history they've lost a game where they scored a TD but didn't allow a touchdown.
Yeah.
They scored a touchdown, didn't allow one. The other 2 came both in 2002, so a long time ago.
I mean, it's like, if I told you Jared Goff was going to throw for 500 yards and the Rams would lose, you'd be like, get out of here. If I told you the Cowboys wouldn't give up a touchdown and they'd lose, you're like, get out of here. Oh, that's not going to happen. Yet it all played out on a really wild week 4.
Looks like we're all getting out of here.
Correct. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.